World we're living in, two incredibly crazy things are happening at the same exact time. I want you to look at this very, very carefully. As more and more evidence piles up on Joe Biden, his administration is ramping up their pursuit of Donald Trump, who seems to have done less and less wrong every single time this is litigated. The former president of the United States, Donald Trump, the current frontrunner for the Republican Party, who happens to be polling above the sitting president, his main opponent, Joe Biden, the sitting president, is rubber stamping his Justice Department's never-ending prosecution against his opponent. Yes, it's that simple and crazy. Joe Biden can deny being involved in all he wants. That's just not the case. The fact of the matter is, he, at some point, as the president, would have had to sign off on Donald Trump being prosecuted by his DOJ, leading Merrick Garland to, very questionably I might add, using the Espionage Act, which stems from the Presidential Record Act, which is not a criminal statute at all. Not to mention, Joe Biden himself did the exact same thing. He had classified documents from when he was a senator, forget VP, senator, in his garage. So aside from political implications and perception, on a legal basis, our system is built on precedent. That's how prosecution works. That's how cases are decided all the time in court. So, since James Comey is the golden calf of the left, let's use his own legal standard as an exhaustive analysis of an even more egregious scenario.
Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case.
Oh, Does that make the people going after Trump unreasonable prosecutors? Begs the question. By their own standard, not mine. Now keep in mind, they're hitting Trump with an obstruction of justice charge for moving boxes around his own home, which, by the way, the National Archives now has back. Nothing was destroyed, nothing was lost, nothing was taken. Hillary Clinton smashed subpoenaed devices with hammers. She used BleachBit to wipe software off known evidence from a server in her basement and then lied about it. And no reasonable prosecutor would pursue that? Really? Now, speaking of the Clintons, Bill had the same issue of documents in his home, and it was decided by a judge that the National Archives did not have the authority to take things back from a former president. Yet, voila, here we are. It's because it's Trump. May I remind you, too, the National Archives people, they were previously at Mar-a-Lago. They searched these documents. They said everything seemed fine. They were going to continue the back and forth with the lawyers, and they simply requested an additional lock on the room. But now it's a criminal offense. Wouldn't this now fall on the National Archives more than Trump? And Democrats say, who knows who's seen that information? Yeah. What about the classified documents at the Penn Biden Center? Which, by the way, received tens of millions of dollars in donations from China. Who saw those? China, maybe? Is that why they're getting away with flying spy balloons 2,000 miles across America? Is it because, Hunter Biden's private equity firm got $2 billion from them? Oh, Carl, that's whataboutism. You're damn right it is. This investigation on Trump, and I'll bet the farm on this, is a smokescreen for the seemingly more damning evidence piling up against Joe Biden. Boom. Mainstream media has definitely taken their cues. Zero coverage on the Biden-Burisma bribery ties. Zero. Keep in mind, much of this stemmed from the findings on the Hunter Biden laptop that not only social media companies suppressed prior to the election, but did so at the behest of the government and 51 former intel officials. The people that are supposed to be objective in everything. It's now proven that their assertions to Russian collusion are, they always were, fundamentally false. They had zero big fat donut evidence to make those claims and did so for partisan gain. For an election, literally election interference. When you suppress information that people make their decisions on, Joe Biden and most of his family, they're up to their eyeballs in allegations right now. But they seem far more substantial than anything they have against Trump. And all this has been suspected for probably over a decade. We know Joe Biden had a Ukrainian prosecutor fired for investigating a natural gas company that his son made millions from. They did all this in the exchange for foreign aid. Biden admitted this on stage.
And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. We're leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a got fired.
I will play that clip every day if I have to. But instead of looking into the massive, and I'm talking massive corruption on its face, Democrats literally impeached Trump for just asking if there was any corruption. Trump knew. The left called it an abuse of power to go after a political enemy. Must be impeached over it. They're literally doing that like 10 or 20-fold right now, just because Trump's running again. He threatens them so much because they can't have the news that Senator Grassley mentioned on the floor yesterday be the headline.
The foreign national who allegedly bribed Joe and Hunter Biden allegedly has audio recordings of his conversation with them. 17 such recordings. These recordings were allegedly kept as a sort of insurance policy for the foreign national in case that he got into a tight spot.
Ruh-roh. Now, there is 100% double standard. Democrats are running a complete banana republic. And we better wake up before it's too late.